Well, welcome everyone to Josh's Severe Weather. We're going to get right to it here. Major outbreak of severe weather continues. Here we are on day 3 of it, I believe, with more to come tomorrow and possibly into Sunday as well. And it's not just the tornadoes that are causing problems, it's the straight line wind damage, it's the massive hail. And unfortunately, what I think will bring an even bigger dollar tag to it is the potential for a historic record flood, a generational flood for some here in the Mid-South over the next couple of days. So we're going to get right to it. Appreciate you joining me this afternoon. We're going to try to keep this pretty quick compared to recent videos, and we're going to get right to it here. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and if you could subscribe to the channel, I would very much appreciate that. Get the word out with your friends as well. Here is a look at the flood threat first, and you will see that we continue to have some of the worst flooding on record for some of the Ozarks and into the central portions of the Mideast here. Kentucky, in particular, Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, northwestern Mississippi. A very high risk for excessive rain continues today, tomorrow, and into Sunday evening. And that is bounded by an area that's got a moderate risk for flooding all the way into Ohio and Illinois and Indiana and all the way down into northeastern Texas. This number here is not an error. 20 inches of rain possible over this 5-day stretch. We saw what happened with Hurricane Helene last fall. 20 to 30 inches of rain up against the mountains caused a generational flood. Unfortunately, this is not a tropical system, but unfortunately for these folks, we very well could have similar results. So keep these folks in your thoughts and prayers, obviously, as this is going to be a very difficult situation. Now, getting to the severe weather, we do have a moderate risk for over 2 million Americans, and that is bounded by an enhanced risk. So the two together have over 6 million Americans at risk of seeing destructive storms through the overnight hours tonight. The moderate risk stretches from northeast Texas and far southeast Oklahoma up into the Ozarks region here. The enhanced risk goes into the same places that were hit just a couple days ago. Western Tennessee and Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, back into northeastern Texas. The areas of greatest concern right now include Little Rock, Arkansas, Longview, Jonesboro, Conway, Hot Springs, Arkansas as well. But if you're in Bowling Green, Kentucky, or Evansville, or even Memphis, Pine Bluff, you certainly need to take this seriously. Shreveport as well, as this is going to be continuing the onslaught here of severe weather. Here's a closer up view of where that moderate risk extends. It is from far northeastern Texas, just to the north of Tyler, just to the east of Paris, up through Little Rock, just to the west of, or just the east of Fort Smith, Jonesboro, and into southeastern Missouri. Unfortunately, a lot of these areas were hit just a couple of afternoon and evenings ago. We are going to see potentially more strong tornadoes across this area. And we're going to break that down for you here in just a little bit. Here's a look at the satellite image, and you can see the moisture streaming in out of the Gulf here. You see the strong flow out of the south-southwest. Lots of cloud cover here, lots of warm air in the warm sector, fast wind flow aloft, and another strong trough in the southwestern United States. And this is going to take its time pushing eastward here. Currently, we do have multiple tornado watches in effect, and I do want to share those with you here. The area of greatest concern for this afternoon right now is Tornado Watch 113, a high risk for tornadoes, a high risk for large hail, and a moderate risk for strong tornadoes. We do have multiple warnings in effect as of 3:45 p.m. Central Time, basically Tyler, Texas, into southeast Oklahoma. We have additional watches and warnings off to the north and east that I do want to share with you as well. This is watch number 115, a tornado watch. The risk for strong tornadoes and large hail isn't quite as high, but it is high, or at least moderate here across northern Mississippi, eastern Arkansas, southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, western Kentucky, western Tennessee. It includes Nashville, includes Jackson, Dyersburg, Memphis, Jonesboro, Oxford, Mississippi, South Haven, Mississippi, Paducah, Cairo, Illinois, Cape Girardeau, Missouri as well. A lot of these places that were hit really hard a couple nights ago are again under a tornado watch that continues through 10 o'clock this evening. And farther to the south and west, we do have a local risk for tornadoes into the early evening hours as well, across east central portions of Texas, including College Station, and to areas to the south and east of DFW. Now, the high threat for stronger tornadoes is not there, but we do have a risk still for a few tornadoes as well as some hail. And you can see here, there are certainly still some warnings in the area. These could backfill farther to the south and east as well. right on down to just near, just to the north and east of Austin and just to the east of Round Rock, Texas. Here's a look at the nation, and it's very clear to see where our storm is. Tornado watches are in yellow here, flash flood watches in green, and flood warnings covering a lot of West Virginia, southern Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, all the way down into Arkansas. A lot of these flood warnings are underneath the severe watches and warnings, or the tornado watches and the severe thunderstorm warnings. So multiple hazards here. I do want to draw your attention, though, to the south central states and the southwest. We are expecting to see a wintry side of this storm all the way down into southwestern Texas as we get into overnight tonight and into tomorrow. And as we get later into Saturday, we could see snow a little bit farther east, some lighter amounts into Oklahoma and north central Texas, including Wichita Falls as well. Hard to believe because we've got 90s in South Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. We've got upper 80s in the Carolinas and Tennessee. But when you go on the other side of the front, it is pretty chilly. 50s in the Ozarks, 40s across central Missouri, and 30s across the southern Rockies here. And that cold air is going to intensify as our upper level low comes north and east and pulls down colder air from the upper levels of the atmosphere. Here's a look at the NAM model showing you why we've got such a dangerous setup for severe weather. There's fast winds here at 850 millibars. And just like we saw a couple of nights ago, these are going to translate northeastward into the Mississippi Delta region, into eastern Arkansas, into the southern Ozarks. So right as the sun is going down tonight, we see the wind field increasing. The wind shear increases as a result. And we're in the warm sector, basically anywhere from the Ozarks on south here. We have strong flow out of the south-southwest here, and that is bringing the Gulf moisture northward. These winds are going to increase. You'll see even they get stronger in Indiana and Ohio on the cooler side of this storm overnight tonight. So wind damage will be a concern all the way into Ohio as well. And then after this system lifts out, we have another push coming tomorrow, unfortunately. And this one is going to dig in a little bit deeper here into Louisiana and Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee. And we see the wind field increasing tomorrow evening a little bit farther south where it's warmer and more humid as well. Here's a look at NATOcast. This is a machine learning model that shows the greatest risk for tornadoes through tonight and into the early morning hours tomorrow. And you can see it's right around Little Rock, Arkansas, where we do have a 45% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of that area. That's surrounded by a 30% area in pink here into northeastern Arkansas and a 15% area into northeast Texas, far southeastern Oklahoma, into West Tennessee and Kentucky and far southern Missouri as well. Tomorrow, what we see that's a little bit different is that the chance for tornadoes is a little bit lower, but the area of strong tornadoes is growing. And in fact, we may see fewer tornadoes tomorrow, but stronger tornadoes in parts of the Mississippi Delta region. We also see the risk for a few tornadoes that extends all the way up into Kentucky and possibly even the Ohio Valley into southwestern Pennsylvania. I don't think it's a great chance, but if I show you tonight's forecast, you'll see the area is going to grow a little bit more to the east and to the south. And if you're in Birmingham and Montgomery, Alabama, we have not really had an active tornado season this far south and east. We've had some tornadoes in Alabama, but this chance is going to grow later on tomorrow night in Alabama, especially the northern and western portion of the state. It's also going to grow across Mississippi. So while we've avoided the worst of the last couple of storms, we are going to see an increase here in our probability for tornadoes. This is the SREF, Short Range Ensemble Forecast, showing you all the south central states. And you are going to see here at about 6 o'clock central, the tornado risk grows significantly, and it continues to grow into the evening hours up until about 8 or 9 o'clock in Arkansas. We still have the risk overnight. And then we see the chances dropping significantly in the morning tomorrow. We're not completely done with severe weather, but it will be a lot lower at that point. And then with more heating of the day, we see a chance again tomorrow around lunchtime in southern Arkansas. The same places that are getting it this afternoon and tonight are going to have a risk for a few tornadoes again tomorrow afternoon. But then the area of greater concern grows a little bit more to the south and east tomorrow afternoon and into the early portion of tomorrow night. And eventually, as we head into Sunday, we will see the chance for strong tornadoes winding down, but we could still see severe weather and damaging winds as well as this advances off to the south and east. Here's the HRRR model, high resolution rapid refresh model, showing you where the storms are expected to be. And you can see why we've got a flooding problem, because if you're in like St. Louis and Cape Girardeau and Illinois here, it's just round after round after round after round after round after round of storms. It keeps raining. through tomorrow night and into early on Sunday morning. Now, the area of severe weather is eventually going to get pushed east, but it is going to take its sweet time doing so. You can see there's wave number 1 here this afternoon and evening. That lifts out. Here's another wave tonight, late tonight into early tomorrow. And then here's a third wave in the Arklatex region here tomorrow morning. And eventually that shifts east. And it may not be until tomorrow night when it gets into northeast Louisiana and eventually into west central Mississippi, including Jackson. And then what's left of that moves into Alabama in the morning on Sunday. And we may have additional severe storms to deal with farther south and east towards the Gulf Coast and farther east across central and eastern Alabama and eventually western portions of Georgia as well. Real quick, I'll show you the HRRR model here in Arkansas. And again, this is just one forecast model, but you can see how nasty things look here this evening. Again, don't get too carried away with where you are in respect to where the storm is. Anybody in this area is going to be under the gun. The model could be off by 50 miles. It could be off. It's just really, it's a mess at this point, but it is going to be raw. It is going to be a very rough go here as we get through the overnight hours. And what concerns me is that there is a nocturnal threat for tornadoes here after dark in many of the same places that had it a couple of nights ago. Eastern Arkansas, and then down to the Little Rock Hot Springs area, and then down to places like Stamps, Arkansas as well. Multiple waves here. And then tomorrow we continue to have rain and storms in the morning, more storms firing up in the late morning and midday hours. That pushes east, and then additional rounds. So if you are somewhere in Arkansas here, it's very possible between now and Sunday morning you could see an additional 3 or 4 tornado warnings in your county. I don't say that lightly, unfortunately. After we get past tomorrow night, fortunately, things are going to move away here, and we're going to see an end to the worst of the weather. It'll turn cooler, but we have more areas to be watching here farther to the east and to the south. I'm going to take you into Louisiana, and this includes far eastern Texas. And really quickly here, you can see far east Texas, northwest Louisiana are going to be kind of on the edge of this here. And then tomorrow we get a better risk for severe weather tornadoes moving towards the Sabine River. And then tomorrow night moving into eastern and northeast Louisiana. And then late tomorrow night moving down towards places like Port Allen, St. Francisville, Natchez, Macomb, Jackson, Mississippi, and then eventually Meridian, Hattiesburg, and the I-59 corridor by early in the day on Sunday. Didn't want to ignore you in northeast Texas or southeast Oklahoma. Your risk is right now and over the next few hours. We will have another wave coming up towards DFW late this evening into the overnight. More storms tomorrow, although I think the chance for stronger tornadoes will end up a little farther east and southeast by the time we get into the day on Saturday. And then the interesting thing is that as we head into Sunday and the colder air wraps in here, we could see some snowflakes falling here as the cold air wraps in with the upper level low Saturday night, mainly in Oklahoma, but also far northern Texas as well. Here's a look at Alabama and Mississippi. And again, if you're in Mississippi, you're not getting the worst of it tonight, except in the northwest corner. But tomorrow, it's going to go downhill very quickly here in the afternoon hours. And another wave comes in later in the evening and overnight. And then it doesn't really even move out of the area until the morning on Sunday. That's when things move into Alabama, and we will have the risk for a few tornadoes moving through, but it will take its time as it moves eastward. Eventually, this will head into southern and eastern Alabama and western Georgia, but not until later in the day on Sunday. Here's a look at temperatures real quick. You can see why things are so volatile. Look at this temperature contrast. It's heating up south of the front, and it's getting cooler north of the front because the front just really isn't moving much. And where its focus is where the heavy rain is. But you will see it's going to stay on the cool side in Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas, and it's going to stay hot and muggy in Louisiana and Mississippi and far south Texas here. Eventually on Sunday, we do see this front making some progress. Finally, it gets the kick that it needs to clear the area, and it's going to be a chilly cleanup day here on Sunday across Oklahoma and across Arkansas and southern portions of Missouri as well. With the cold side here, we've got snow to deal with. Here's a look at the model blend. It is showing around an inch or so around OKC, more to the west, maybe as much as 3 or 4 inches. Southern Kansas, southwest Missouri, we could see a little bit of snow as well. We just had tornadoes a couple of days ago. Now we're talking wet snowflakes. But in northwestern Texas, central and eastern New Mexico, southern Colorado, the mountainous areas are going to get a foot or more of snow, and the high plains are going to see between 6 and 10 inches of accumulation, and even several inches across the mountains, the Trans-Pecos here in southwestern Texas. Here's a look at tomorrow's enhanced risk. You can see the area of strong tornadoes does include places like Greenville, Mississippi, Shreveport, Bossier City, Monroe, Bastrop, Louisiana, Stamps, Arkansas, Alexandria, Fort Johnson, and far east Texas, maybe all the way to about Lufkin. But there's going to be a bigger risk over the late afternoon, evening hours for straight line wind damage all the way down into Cajun country and perhaps as far south as the northern suburbs of Houston, Beaumont, and Port Arthur, Texas here late in the day tomorrow into tomorrow night. There's a big hail threat as well, especially in the evening here and late afternoon, East Texas, Western Louisiana, Southern Arkansas as well. And then you can see here as we head into the day on Sunday, the risk for severe weather is actually going to encompass a bigger area, but the threat for stronger storms will not be as high. 15% chance for some tornadoes, severe wind and hail, far southeast Louisiana, southeast Mississippi, southern and central Alabama, western Florida, and moving into Georgia as well. And some of this could survive into the Carolinas, West Virginia, and Maryland, and northern and western portions of Virginia as well during the afternoon hours on Sunday. By the time we get to Monday, though, I think our chances are going to be significantly lower. The machine models say that the chance for tornadoes is greatest in Alabama and western Georgia on Sunday afternoon, but the chance for severe hail is a little bit higher when we get up into North Carolina and Virginia and maybe southern Maryland. And the threat for damaging winds is in both areas, primarily Alabama and Georgia, maybe South Carolina, North Carolina, more likely Virginia and southern Maryland as well. But this risk is not going to be as high as the next 3 days. Now, again, I mentioned the heavy rain, and I want to come back to this because this is what I think is going to lead to more fatalities than the tornadoes. Not that tornadoes are not bad, that they can't cause destruction, but when we have water everywhere and we can't move it out, and a lot of people living in river valleys, unfortunately, that's going to be what ends up being the costlier hazard out of this event. And you can see that already in the last 3 days, we've seen amounts of up to 9 inches falling in western Kentucky. And along the Ohio River Valley, about 3 inches of rain has fallen. Western Tennessee, 5, maybe 6 inches. Same goes for Arkansas here. You can see that the numbers have come up. And unfortunately, as we look ahead to just the next 60 hours, and I'm going to pull that up for you all here. Let me get that precipitation again, or at least the next 48 hours. You can see on top of what has fallen, the forecast is very dire. It's showing locally 10 to 11 inches of more rain on top of the 4 to 8 that we've already had. And that's what gets us close to that 20-inch total. Northern Arkansas in particular, we need to be concerned with that. But also taking a look a little bit farther north into the boot heel of Missouri, into western Kentucky. All of these rivers travel into the same area. They go from north to south. All this rain is going to end up going down the Mississippi River, going down the Ohio River, going down the Arkansas River, and many of the other tributaries, the Tennessee River as well, over the next couple of days. Real quick, I will show you here in West Virginia. Actually, let me get you back here to Ohio. There we go. We do have some flood threat as well in the mountains of West Virginia, western and southwestern Virginia, and western North Carolina. But you'll see it's greater when we go back into western Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, western Tennessee as well. I don't want to ignore Texas here. We do have the threat for this severe weather as well, and the threat for heavy rain. The Red River could have some flooding challenges, not just in Oklahoma and Texas, but also down through southwest Arkansas and through northern Louisiana as well. So that's what I'll be watching for you all, but that's all I wanted to share today. I got to get running here. It's Friday evening. I hope everybody takes these watches and warnings seriously. I will be back on tomorrow with another video. I want to leave you, though, with a word of encouragement, and that is from the book that I read every day, the book of John 15:7. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is Jesus's words to his followers. We serve a wonderful God, and a God that we can trust to take our prayers, to take our concerns with us. Will everything be done today, tomorrow, the next day? No. And that's what I think. Let me share that screen with you again. That's what I think people struggle with in the Christian faith. But God has already given us a pathway to heaven through Jesus Christ, through the eternal salvation that has been given for us. And that is the good news I wanted to share with you. It's not the struggles you're going through now, but the reward that waits on the other side. So if you have an opportunity to request a prayer, if you're struggling in your faith, you are not alone. I will spend some time in prayer for you this weekend. I'm praying for everybody, believers, non-believers, who comes to this channel. I'm praying for everybody in the path of these storms. and just know that you do in fact matter, and that I care for you. This is not to serve me. This channel is not to serve me. It's to serve God, but it is to give me a direct connection to you. Um, there's a lot of weather pages out there that they want to stay engaged. They want to bring in the followers. They want to compete with other weather pages. That's fine. I have nothing against that personally, but my goal here is for this to be about you, not about me. So I hope that you understand that and take that to heart. And I welcome you to come back here again later. Have a blessed evening. See ya.